When you're standing on a job site with a laser level in your bag, the first question that pops up is whether this tool is going to actually save you time or just sit on a shelf gathering dust. That hesitation is real. You've probably seen a dozen ads promising perfect grades every time. But the truth is the device has to survive rain, dust, and the occasional drop while still keeping the line straight over a half-mile distance. I'm going to walk through what the STABILA LAR 300 rotary laser level set really offers in those everyday conditions, so you can decide if it's worth the price tag or if another approach makes more sense. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the environment the LAR 300 is built for. It carries an IP65 rating, which means it's officially waterproof and dustproof. In practice, that translates to being able to turn the unit on after a sudden downpour and still get a clean, uninterrupted line. I've tested a couple of rotary lasers on a construction site that gets blasted with grit from a nearby demolition, and the ones that weren't sealed started flickering after a day of exposure. The LAR 300 sealed housing eliminates that worry. You can set it up in the early morning, let a storm roll through, and still have the same line when the clouds clear. Range is another headline claim, 2,600 feet. On paper that sounds impressive, but the real test is how the beam behaves when you're trying to align a foundation wall that stretches across a large lot. In my experience, a laser that can project that far needs a stable tripod and a clear line of sight. The included tripod on the LAR 300 is heavy enough to stay put on uneven ground without constantly readjusting. Yet it's not so bulky that you can't carry it in a standard tool bag. When I placed it on a compacted gravel pad and let the rotary head spin, the line stayed bright and visible even at the far edge of the advertised range, provided there wasn't heavy foliage or bright sunlight directly in the beam's path. Temperature tolerance is often glossed over, but on a site in the Midwest you can see temperatures swing from sub-zero mornings to 100°F afternoons. The LAR 300 is rated to operate across that span, and I found that the laser didn't drift after a few hours of exposure to cold. Some cheaper models I've used started to lose accuracy after the battery warmed up, which forced me to recalibrate multiple times. The LAR 300's internal compensation keeps the line steady, meaning you spend less time stopping to check and more time laying out. Now, who actually benefits from these characteristics? If you're a professional contractor who needs to stake out grading, set foundation lines, or run utilities over a large site, the LAR 300's durability and range become cost justifiers. The device can be left on the job for an entire day without fearing a sudden failure, and the long range means you don't have to constantly relocate the laser for each new measurement. Small-scale remodelers who work primarily inside a single room may find the extra range unnecessary and might be better served by a more compact line laser that's cheaper and lighter. A practical weakness shows up when you consider power management. The LAR 300 runs on a rechargeable battery that, according to the spec sheet, lasts about 8 hours under continuous use. In the field, that can be enough for a half-day job, but if you're planning a full-day layout with intermittent breaks, you'll need to bring a spare battery or a charger on site. I've seen a few users mention they had to pause work while the battery warmed up after a cold start, which is a small but noticeable interruption when deadlines are tight. Another nuance is the learning curve. Rotary lasers emit a 360-degree line that circles the entire area, which is fantastic for large, open spaces, but can be confusing the first few times you set up the leveling staff. You have to ensure the staff is perfectly plumb before taking a reading. Otherwise, the circular line can give the illusion of a level surface when the staff itself is tilted. For seasoned users, this is second nature, but a hobbyist may need a few practice runs before they trust the numbers. The set also includes a few accessories that many buyers overlook. The tripod's leg spread can be locked at several lengths, giving you flexibility to raise the laser higher for longer sight lines or lower it for tighter spaces. The included mounting bracket allows you to attach the laser to a pole, turning it into a handheld grade check tool. These little extras add genuine value because they expand the ways you can use the unit without buying additional gear. On the downside, the unit's weight is a trade-off for its ruggedness. At roughly 8 pounds, it isn't something you'll want to toss into a pocket. You'll need a sturdy tote or a belt system if you need to move it frequently. That weight can become a fatigue.